be patient. Please be patient. All systems downloading. Welcome to Katie.Show.
Hello and welcome to Katie.Show. So obviously you can't miss what's happening right here in the vein of Iron Man. Candace Hammer, who's actually a brand ambassador for Genworth, is going to tell me exactly what's happening here, because here's the deal. 75 million baby boomers are actually going to be heading into retirement soon. One thing we're all not thinking about, aging. That's right, it is a reality that is upon many of us soon. And if it's not you, you're not a baby boomer, guess what? You could be a caregiver. So we have this experience here, and we're at the Liberty Science Center.
That's right.
Which is so cool because for the first time ever, you get to simulate what it could be like to age through a robotic suit.
Exactly. This is a kinesthetic learning experience, so you're learning through your body. And this exoskeleton that you can see on his joints will simulate things like rheumatoid arthritis, so that's stiffening in the joints. On his eyes, he has stereo high-definition cameras that you noted we've hacked into an Oculus so that we can augment his vision in real time. We take that image, we send it to our processor in the back, change it, and send it out in real time so he can see in this computerized vision here. He also has noise-canceling headphones on his head with a microphone, so we can cancel out any sounds we don't want, pick up what we do, send it to a digital signal processor in the back, and out in real time.
So I think the big thing here is, and for anyone that's listening and can't see it, I encourage you to go on and check out the video, but it's a 40-pound suit.
That's right.
And it looks very high-tech, but the fundamental principle here is, you know, my first boss ever in life said, "Don't tell me, show me." And when people get to experience what it's like, that's the big deal here. I think we don't think about things like aging. Maybe we think about it, especially as females, in terms of like what we're going to look like,
yes,
but what we're going to feel like. That is the number one goal here.
Absolutely, and so many people come up to us and say things like, "Oh, I got that, I have a sore knee," and then they do the suit, and it is a complete 180. They are blown away with what they learn. A lot of it has to do with the people in their lives. If they have a mother that has glaucoma or arthritis or a hip replacement, you get it. You finally really get what they're going through. Obviously, we're not simulating pain, and that is another part of the equation, especially with rheumatoid arthritis, which my mother has. She complains of that pain all the time. So what we're doing here is just the stiffening of the joints. But you absolutely get that experience of what it's like to lose mobility in a way that you can't fathom. You can't just imagine what that is.
Run down that laundry list too, because we talk about stiffening of joints, also with the vision. What are the symptoms that somebody can actually feel if in the suit?
Sure. So for the eyes, we simulate glaucoma, macular degeneration, cataracts, and floaters, which our friend here, Nardeep, has floaters, so he gets floaters on floaters in the suit.
Lots of floaters.
Lots of floating.
Good for you.
And with the ears, we do tinnitus, which is that constant ringing in the ears, presbycusis, which is sensor neural hearing loss, that shaving away of the frequencies that you can hear. If you've seen somebody with like a hearing aid or a cochlear implant, that's probably what they're trying to combat. And then we do a neurological condition called aphasia, which means that you know what you want to say, but you can't quite get the words out.
How do you simulate that?
We actually add a little delay in the way their sound reaches their ears. So the way that they're speaking, there's a little loop, and it causes the same sort of misfire in the brain that happens with aphasics. So that's it's really disarming.
Thank you, Candace, because I'm the person that stays up like 3, 4 in the morning, and I hear those like a mesothelioma, and then I Google it, and I think I have it. So now you just gave me yet another symptom that I have to be concerned about, and I'll probably think I have in about 12 hours.
Right, are you a hypochondriac? Because this is for you.
A little bit. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So did we hit them all too? So the vision?
That was the vision.
The joint?
Yep, we simulate with the arms separately from the legs, but we could do them all together if we want to go crazy. Yeah, so we do a rope climb with the arms to simulate. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. When I was in the suit, I was doing the rope climb, and then my arms just hung, because that was how much resistance they put on there, and I couldn't move. It was crazy. So that makes you think about that stiffening in your joints. What happens if you can't have that full range of motion? What it would be like to like make breakfast. We always say that. We're like, just getting a cereal box, like getting milk, getting a bowl, getting a spoon. Just that simple activity becomes 10 times harder. You see people's heart rate go up. We also have telemetry in the suit, so we're monitoring his heart rate here. And that's how we're gauging how much output our volunteer is using.
We were talking about it in the car, my crew and I, on the way here, and I think one thing that should be identified too is This should be like a college course because of the appreciation you have for your body.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you think you have a bad day? Like, I think we're living in this suit, if you will, for 24 hours, and the appreciation that we should be giving it and taking care of it and taking better care of it. I know it sounds cheesy, but what an experience to put individuals through this.
That's exactly right. That's what we're trying to do here, is have this empathetic response, but also realize you only get one and you gotta take care of it.
Yep.
And when we do the tinnitus, especially because we say like, you know, have you been to a club or a loud concert and stood too close to the speakers and heard that ringing in your ear? That means you're predisposed to something like that.
That's interesting.
So you really have to turn down your headphones, wear earplugs, and it's the things that your mom tells you that you just kind of want to ignore because they're not cool. But if you do them, you'll have a better quality of life, you'll be able to hear for longer, and I mean, when you hear that ringing, it is so annoying and intense. How would you sleep through that? I mean, you would just become an insomniac because you'd have this ringing in your ears the whole time.
You're standing here in this 40-pound suit.
Doing a good
I feel
job.
like we should ask you a question about what is the most painful, not painful per se, but most unique experience, and what has stood out to you and been most profound in terms of, I guess if you could say, a symptom.
A symptom, yeah. I think for me it was the vision. Specifically, my grandmother had cataract surgery last year, and I never really understood what that meant. She'd always ask us to help her read stuff. She didn't really want to go out too much. Like, she was struggling seeing stuff, and we were like, well, you've got glasses. What's going on here? And to see what she actually saw, or a version of what she saw, was pretty eye-opening, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
It made me really value what I have and the vision that I have, and also kind of made me rethink about my interactions with her and how I would go forward, you know, interacting with elderly loved ones.
So the suit is actually simulating, like you had noted earlier, it's going through Oculus.
Yes.
Is that SDK2, or the second version, whatever?
Throwing that to Pat?
Got it. Not that important. Thank you, Pat. Okay, developer preview it is. But the whole idea it's over a HUD. So you're actually seeing what you're normally seeing.
Exactly.
So it's more of like an augmented reality in a sense.
That's exactly what it is. So these two HD cameras are filming you right now. That signal is getting transported to the backpack itself, which is processing the signal, and is beaming directly back into this Oculus, so to this headset. So I can see you in real time, and as a result, we can manipulate that image with these visual conditions in real time. So you would be seeing what you would actually be seeing if you had glaucoma or if you had a cataract.
So if he was standing in front of you and looking at you right now, and we gave him macular degeneration, you would disappear from his field of view.
I understand why Genworth does and makes something of this nature. I think it's very fast forward and very future forward. Is there any plans to implement in areas where people can get more exposure to having this kind of access to feel what it's like? I feel like, again, I think it should be a college class.
Right.
Everyone should be able to feel this and appreciate their bodies.
Right. Well, we have to actually taken it to a college, and so that is a part of the plan, is to get it out there.
Millennials don't appreciate anything. Let me tell you, nothing.
But they love
Take it
having
to
the
work.
Oculus,
I'm just kidding.
so they're like, oh, the Oculus.
Oh, right.
Let's play with that. So they actually do like getting in the suit because there is so much tech. So it's interesting. Every generation actually responds to the suit a little bit differently.
Huh.
You know, we've been dealing with the kids here at Liberty Science Center, and they really do get it because they can look at their grandparents and go, oh, that's what my grandmother's going through. And then the millennials are interested in the tech.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
interested in the servo motors and the...
Well, and the exoskeleton suit in itself, it's a technology I've been covering in a number of different capacities, especially on the military side for years. And I mean, it looks so high tech, but also I've never seen it in this capacity kind of simulate these different experiences. I've seen it allow you to do it, carry extra payload,
Right.
or give you superhuman strength, but nothing of this magnitude. So very unique. It is proprietary, right? There's only one of these suits created.
Two, but yes. Yes.
Do you know how much it costs to make?
No, I don't actually.
And not to be tangential, but I wanted to make sure I got in the point. You talked about, you brought up your mother and your dad, your grandparents. I think all of us have been directly or indirectly affected. I know for me personally, it was my grandfather and watching my mom and how much she had to put in taking care of him. And that's family.
Oh, yeah.
There's no shortcuts.
Oh, yeah.
And when you put them into when the facility is the only option, and something's wrong. I mean, I can tell you, and again, maybe an overshare, but it's certainly enlightening to $8,000 a month for care.
Oh yeah, you go, that's for the year, right? And then it's like,
It's
no,
a
that's
month.
per month.
And that's like the base.
Oh, I know.
And you're
I
like,
know.
wait, I want the best of the best.
Totally.
So that was the highest option, best option, $8,000 a month, and then goodness, who knows how many years.
Right.
And you're leaving your family there. You have to because of their condition. I think a lot of people, and we noted that baby boomer number, will soon be affected by that. And I think beyond our own selfish aging inquiries, I think that too is coming in the forefront.
Absolutely. My mom just retired from a 40-year career to take care of her mother. And that, I mean, she's a judge. It's not like a light decision for her to do that. But she loves her mother. She wants the best for her mother, obviously. We all do.
Yep.
But that price tag, and also there's a bit of, she didn't want to leave her. You know, there's
we
something.
went through that as well. And like, she's over there every day and hours and hours.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And my grandmother is the suit. You know, she has like all of this.
It's funny, not funny, you know. I
know.
I'm not trying to laugh at being insensitive. But
I know, but I have to remind myself constantly because it is, she can't see, she can't hear, and she's in pain. And so we are always trying to make her comfortable, and this helps me. This helps me relate to her in a way that I couldn't before, because there is so much going on, and you have so much going on in the suit that you finally get. It's not just eyes, because yeah, maybe you could deal with it. It's not just ears. It's the cumulative effect of these things that make it such that you would need full-time care, and the financial burden of that. And so many families take a hit because they do have to retire or they have to get out of a job to take care. Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I think a lot of people haven't necessarily thought about, because it's scary.
Yep.
So we're hoping that what this does is open the door to that conversation, make it less scary, make it available, make it out there so that people feel like, okay, let's talk about this, because the more information we have, the better off we are. And if we have a plan in place, before we get to that critical moment where we have to decide, are we gonna put mom in a home, or are we gonna retire and take care of her, then you're gonna be better off. You're gonna be able to move forward with confidence and know that your family is going to be okay and you're going to be okay as well.
Well, and amazing, because this is something we're all going to deal with.
Yeah.
There is no way around it.
Right?
I mean,
yeah.
For anyone that can't see the Exoskeleton robotic suit, and I'm going to try to sell it so people go on and watch it, but it's very high tech. It's, again, the eyewear portion of it is using Oculus, but what would you describe as the experience in terms of just putting it on and start to finish? Take us through that process.
So putting it on, the suit itself weighs about 40 pounds. So right when you get into the suit, you're already feeling that effect of what it would be to be older through that weight shift that you have, through the sort of weight gain and the muscle loss that you would have. So just standing here, you know, I'm already getting a little tired. I'm already feeling a little, maybe just a teeniest bit cranky and all that, just because, just because of the weight of it, you know.
He wants dinner. He wants a potato.
Bring it to me. You know, the vision itself. I mean, you know, when we start playing around with the manipulation of that, that obviously in conjunction with the weight can get really effective to show people like this is what people deal with. Like as Candace said, it's not just one thing, it's a multitude of things, right? The noise canceling headphones, so my hearing is already slightly muffled, so we're already dealing with some of that, you know, before we even actually do the conditions, just because of putting the suit on itself. Yeah, so you're feeling the effects just by putting the suit on immediately. And then when you start adding everything on, the exoskeleton itself, we can restrict movement. So when we start to restrict movement, you know, people's heart rate goes up because they realize, wow, just a simple thing like getting cereal out of the cupboard becomes just that much harder.
Feels like you're being pulled down, right?
Yeah, exactly, pulled down. One thing as we go through the demonstrations, the people that we've been finding really interesting is that when we try out presbycusis, which is age-related hearing loss, everyone immediately looks at us, because they're reading our lips, which is what people who have hearing loss often will do. They want to read their lips. And they're experiencing that instant sort of gut reaction in the suit. So, you know, little things like that, which are hard to actually kind of explain, you know, verbally, that, you know, as you said, it's going through the experience yourself. You'll have those little moments, you know. Just, you probably see me adjusting my weight here and all that. You know, we lock up the legs so you can feel like what it would be like to have a stiff hip or have a limp, and how your body has to correct to do that. So it's a whole thing, but
I can't imagine, like I take for granted, not to talk about myself for a moment, but like even running on a daily basis, like what a feat you would have to, it'd be impossible. I mean, it wouldn't be impossible, but what a burden.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people, so we have people go on the treadmill in the suit.
Oh, is that why there's a treadmill right
Yes,
there?
exactly. So-
These things, you don't piece them together.
So there's the treadmill here, and we have people go up for a walk, just like a nice gingerly walk on the beach. And then we start to stiffen up their lower body. And it's a pretty immediate shift when they say, oh yeah, I could handle this, it's fine. And then we lock them up, we stiffen their joints, and then suddenly they're like, no, I want to sit down. I don't want to do this much longer. I can maybe do this for 2 minutes. And I think it's that immediate response where they realize, wow, it's so much harder to do just a normal, everyday thing that I take for granted. And I think that's something that people are realizing. I shouldn't take this stuff for granted.
Right.
Because, you don't really appreciate it until it's gone.
And you see it when they start walking. It's that if you were to imitate an old person, you'd do the hey, Sonny, you'd be like hunched over.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what they do. They kind of hunch over on the treadmill to kind of, so it's interesting. It looks like they're on a walker or something because they can hold onto the sides of the treadmill and use it for strength. So I think it would be interesting to see people walking around and not have that
For sure.
stability in front of them with
And then
the
we measure
treadmill.
the heart rate, so you can see them. Their heart rate is going up rapidly. Whether they're at a steady 80 or 90, they go up to 110, 115, 120. And they'll come off the treadmill, we'll lift the visor, and they're sweaty and they're out of breath. And all they've done is walk on it for, at the most, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. At the most.
Sometimes a minute and they're sweating.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're grunting and they're,
Yeah.
And it is pretty phenomenal to put. We've had a 19-year-old in there who's a big football player, and he thought he would kind of beat the suit.
Well, that's my thought process, isn't it?
Right. You have a little ego there. You're like, no, it's not going to happen to me. And then you should have seen him pale at the end of this, whoa, that's what they're experiencing. And that impatience that we have with people who are walking too slowly, and you're trying to get through the museum, or wherever you are, you really get a sense that, whoa, that person that's walking slowly is actually doing a lot more work than I'm doing.
Right.
And I should be in awe of the fact that they're with me and doing this with me and have a greater respect for them, not less respect because they're slowing me down.
Well done, guys. Anything you want to cover that I missed?
Come on by.
I'm impressed with the suit because, again, having seen previous exoskeleton suits and technology in this scope,
Right.
I can't wait to see 2.0. I
Right.
think this is so well done. I'm
Right.
thinking, where do you make cuts and
Right.
skim? It's very clean
Right.
and sleek and
Yeah.
high tech.
And I did think of something.
Yeah,
this
please.
technology, I think the most exciting thing, you're saying 2.0, that this technology is going to be used in the future to do the exact opposite, to stabilize people if they're prone to falls, to actually map vision into, if they had glaucoma, say they only have this much vision left, we could map a fisheye into it so that they could restore any vision
Yes.
loss. So the exciting thing about this is that hopefully in our children's lifetimes, they will be seeing exoskeletons that are as thin as a neoprene suit that would have sensors on it to give them extra strength, give them stability.
Well, to your point too, that's what I've covered in the past is exoskeletons with people with physical disabilities can walk again. I mean, it's
Right.
been
Right.
absolutely
Phenomenal, right?
incredible.
Yeah, so you'll be able to see a version of what I'm seeing here
Okay.
on the screen.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I'm going to give him glaucoma right now. So he's looking at you, and he is.
Yep. Everything on the sides has gone away, and I can only see.
That's the depth of field vignette filter and no? Camera Plus app? No, okay, great. That's not what that is. Awesome.
Have you been to the doctor when they do that puff of air in your eye?
I hate it.
Yeah, that's a tonometer, and it measures how much pressure is in your eye.
Ugh.
And if you have too much pressure, you have this. So that's what causes glaucoma.
Oh my gosh.
So keep doing that. I know, I hate it too, because I'm always like, oh, I can't keep my eye open for it. But keep your eye open for it, because if they catch it early, you won't have to go through any of this. They'll stop it before it even starts.
Interesting.
So that's the good news about that. This is macular degeneration. What do you see in there, Deep?
So I no longer see Katie, and I see just the chairs on the sides,
It's
a
the
little bit of the
reverse.
screen, and now I am blind.
Right. So the macula of your eye does all this detailed imaging, and when those cells begin to go, you're left with this. And sometimes they go all at once, and sometimes it can start kind of small. What we say is if you see anything going, please go to your eye doctor, because we can't reverse it. We don't have a cure for this.
Oh,
but
so
we
you
could
just
stop
stop?
it. But I mean, that's livable. That's a whole new life,
Yeah.
right? So we just have to encourage people to go to those yearly eye exams, especially if you're like one of those people and you treat the eye doctor like the dentist.
Well,
you avoid it like the plague.
For many years, I just memorized the board because I thought that was smart. And then I start to geek out when he's like, better number 1 or 2. 1 or 2. I'm like, dude, I'm just thinking about how weird you sound when you like do that. I'm not paying attention.
Right,
Anyways.
right. What are you seeing now, Nardeep?
Okay, I'm seeing like a white film over one eye.
Right, so this is a cataract caused by the sun, solar infrared radiation, and we encourage people to wear sunglasses to protect their eyes, or you could get eye surgery and have them removed. Nardeep's grandmother has had her cataracts removed and she feels great about it, right?
Yeah, she sees better than she has in like 15 years.
But she still went through eye surgery, so
yeah.
that's not fun, right?
Yeah.
And then this is you. It's all you, man.
Yeah, this is floaters on floaters.
Floaters on floaters. These are little bits of loose protein that come off your retina, and they float around the back of your eye. And this is what you see. It's like a big worm.
Who gets
right?
those? Like, what is it? What makes you?
Well, I've had them since I was 14. And once you get them, they're kind of stuck with you. They can't get rid of them. And to be honest, I don't really know what causes them. It's just protein detaches from the retina, so it could just happen.
Is it like every day you see something like that?
Every day. Yeah, so when I'm tired or there's maybe a bright light that's sort of backlighting a little bit, they're more noticeable, but your mind tends to adjust to it and you almost ignore it most of the time because they're always there.
Right.
Wow.
And if you have a lot of them, if you have a sudden onset, if you start to see a lot of these and you see like flashes, that could be a detached retina, and that's very serious. Go straight to your ophthalmologist and they'll get you in shape. So those are the eye conditions we can show. And I'll go over here and we'll do the ears now. You good?
Yep.
Cool. So we use a spectrogram to represent the frequencies that we're using. So this is the sound of my voice right now. And we're going to add in a new frequency.
Oh, there it is.
It's a really lovely, rich, ringing sound.
High-pitched ringing sound.
This is modeled off of our boss's Bran Farron's tinnitus. So this is what he hears all the time. Every moment of his life, when he's sleeping. I mean, can you imagine?
No.
Yeah. Have you ever heard this before?
You know, I think we all get it briefly, right?
Right.
And then we're like, it stops and you're like, amen.
Yes. But after a concert or after like exposure to loud sound, yes. So that's when you're predisposed to something like this. And so we want to make sure that we're turning down the volume in our headphones because that is causing a lot of cases of tinnitus. And we also want to don't stand right next to the speakers, wear earplugs if you know you're going to be in a loud venue, right? Oh, sweet relief. Here we are.
Yes.
Let's try this one now. What does this sound like to you, Nardeep?
I'm sorry?
Exactly. This is called presbycusis, and this is sensor neural hearing loss, and it can start at age 18, and we just kind of shave away the frequencies that we can hear until we're left with something like this, which is quite difficult, right? It can be hard to carry in a conversation.
Yeah, you sound underwater and almost like you're in another space.
Right, totally. My grandmother has this, and she has a hearing aid for it, and she hates wearing her hearing aid because she hears this. In like a loud place, it just picks up all this background noise. Even a fan, she's like, I can really hear that fan because it's not like a human ear that tunes out some of the sound. It's just a microphone. It's like picking up sound and putting it all in her ear. So then she's having even more difficulty understanding us. And she takes it out and we're like, please put your hearing aid back in so you can understand us. But it's actually making it worse for her. So the struggle is real. And one of the things that I do with her is get right in front of her so she can read my lips and carry on. You're kind of doing it a little bit right now to keep up. And if I start to do this kind of thing, like it's over, conversation's over, because she can't keep up with all of this going on, right? How are you feeling?
Like I have no idea what's going on.
Right.
It's hard to pick up your voice from all this other noise.
Kind of disorienting, right?
Yeah, it's very disorienting.
Yeah, let's take that away. All right. Gratitude, right? Gratitude for our ears. They're working hard. Okay, Nardeep, let's do the critically acclaimed Mary Had a Little Lamb. Will you recite that for me?
Sure. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow.
Excellent. Let's do it one more time. Whenever you're ready, my friend.
Okay. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow.
What happened?
It's like I'm trying to catch up to my words.
Yeah, was that difficult to talk like that?
Yeah, this is really hard.
This
Makes
is-
me not want to speak.
Right, this is aphasia. So this is a neurological condition that can happen in your mind where you know what you want to say, but you can't quite get the words out, and your speech can sound slurred or stuttering, and it can be embarrassing because we usually rely on our speech to get by in our day-to-day, and it can sound kind of like they're drunk sometimes, and we want to make sure that people aren't feeling isolated because they've lost the power of speech, right? Because it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing to have to go through that. I'm going to take it away, Nardeep, so you don't have to.
Thank you.
How was that experience for you?
That's
Yeah.
better. That's better.
Yeah. Was it hard? Can you describe what it was like to talk like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to know what you want to say and then not have the ability to say it, if that makes sense. You know? Like,
Yeah.
It's just like, especially because I've talked for my whole life.
Right, right.
So, except when I was a little baby.
Right.
But, you know, to be able to think my thoughts and know exactly how I want to assemble them and then suddenly it's just
Right.
not working. It's
Right.
incredibly frustrating. And
Right.
it's incredibly frustrating.
My friend who's an ICU nurse says she sees very high cases of aphasia.
Ugh.
And it's terrible in that kind of
How does
situation.
that come on?
We don't really know because it's neurological. Yeah.
Wow.
So the brain, it's a wonderful, mysterious place. I'm sure there are causes, but the age-related cause of aphasia is age-related. So it could just happen with time, basically. Jake, do you want to help me with the arms? So we're going to do the rope climb now. This is the fun one. Nardeep, you know this well.
I do.
Tried and true. Yep, so his joints are blue, which means we're not restricting his mobility. And as soon as Jake starts to age his joints, you're going to see them turn red. And you can see Nardeep's heart rate's actually already a little elevated because he's been in the suit for a bit now. So we have him at 118. And as it turns more red, he's going up and up and up. 119. How's that feel, Nardeep?
It's a lot tougher.
Yeah,
Come on, man up, dude.
muscle through that.
I'm trying.
And you can see how hard he's working. And so now
Yeah.
he's up to 124. And this is, I mean, we use our arms for everything, right? So just imagine. And this is rheumatoid arthritis without the pain. And that is saying a lot because rheumatoid arthritis is very painful for most people when they feel this stiffening in their joints, according to my mother. It's tough stuff. Oh, excellent. Now he's free. He's free and his heart rate immediately goes down. Oh, you're done.
It's like you're doing something through just like 10 extra pounds of weight.
Right, right. Let's turn you around. Let's put you on the treadmill.
Sure.
Let's get you walking. So now we're going to do the legs. And you've already kind of elevated your heart rate, right?
Yeah, that's
But let's get you going. Is it going?
Switch.
right.
There we go.
No, it's just the wheel.
Yeah, I know it's the wheel, but is it not on?
Patrick?
Yeah, Patrick is the answer.
Tech man?
Oh, there we
There
go.
we
There we go.
Yay.
Excellent.
Nice, beautiful beach walk.
Yeah. How's that feel?
Feels okay.
Feels okay? How long do you think you could go for?
I could probably go for like an hour like this.
Okay, excellent. Let's do a symmetric loss of mobility, so both legs. This would be like a stiffening of your hips and your knees. And we're seeing those joints turn red now, so we're adding load, and bit by bit they're getting more and more red. And his heart rate's already going up again.
Yep, there
All
we go.
right, there we go. How's that feel?
Yeah, it's a lot harder.
A lot harder?
Yeah. I
Do
feel
you-
like I'm a hunchback.
You are, so you can see how his body compensates to keep up with that. And I always think, like, imagine if that wasn't there, right? So imagine if you
Yeah.
just were walking, because this is walking with a walker, basically, you know, because he's got that support in front of him. So let's see, it doesn't always happen on both sides. Let's see if it happens just on one side, because sometimes people have one bad hip. So let's just take them both down and just do the left leg and see what that's like for Nardeep. How does that feel?
That's better.
That's
Right
better?
now- Right now it's better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then we're gonna turn you into a pirate.
Okay.
And you're gonna be limping for us. How does that feel? Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. And you can see his whole body is compensating for that loss of
Yeah.
mobility. So it would be as if his left hip had gone. Let's try your right hip. Are you right-handed?
I am right-handed.
So we have a dominant side, and sometimes it can be more pronounced if we lose our dominant leg. And yeah, obviously, so you have to work a lot harder because this leg is not used to leading as this leg was. And I mean, it's pretty pronounced, right? It's in the shoulders, it's in the hips, it's in the other leg that has to compensate for that, and his heart rate is going up. How long do you think you could walk like this, Nardeep?
I think I want to sit down.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't want to walk.
Right, right. My mom just had a hip replacement, and she used to be a runner. She used to run every single day,
Yep.
and now our doctor's like, you can't run anymore. And it's like she's lost her personality. And she's like, has to
yeah.
sit. So it's huge. It takes an emotional toll too, not just a mobility toll. How do you feel?
Feeling good.
Feeling good?
Feeling good, yeah.
Should we get you off of this?
Sure.
Let's turn you around, and we'll talk to you about your experience. We'll take off the helmet here. Hi.
Hello.
How you feeling?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, it's tiring.
It
It's
is.
tiring, yeah.
Is there any one aspect that's more illuminating than another?
Well, I discussed the vision before, but man, every time I go on that treadmill, it's
Fresh
just-
reminder.
It's a fresh reminder of, wow,
Right.
keep my legs as healthy as possible for as long as possible, especially with when you stiffen my right leg.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to just stay up
Right,
was impossible, and
right,
it felt like, I don't know, it felt like I just had just like a stick
right.
right there, and I couldn't bend it or anything. It's hard.
Yeah,
Makes you think about the elderly when they're walking slowly
Yeah.
down the street.
Yeah.
Like, slow down for them, you know,
absolutely.
because they're doing so much. When you see my heart rate, I peaked over.
Right.
It's really high, and I'm a little out of breath right now. But
Right,
yeah, it just makes you realize just how much harder they have to work just to
Right.
just to go to the grocery store.
mm-hmm.
you
And
know.
we're gonna keep Nardeep in the suit for 6 months, and we're gonna report back.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh, I was like, that's really messed up, man.
Right? But that's the point. Like, this was short. This was all very short, right? We just, a little bit of it, a little taste. But just imagine not turning it off. For most people, that's the reality.
Yep.
It doesn't, we don't have a toggle. We can't just switch it off. So that's where it really hits home. We always do that at the end because people are like, thank God that's over, right? And it's like, no, that's actually not people's reality. You
Right.
can't just turn it off. So, good job.
Thank you.
Well done, both of you.
A scholar and a gentleman.
I'm so hyperactive, and you held my attention the whole time.
Yay!
Well done.